Welcome to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I'm your host, Norman Bell, and we have a special guest right in front of us here. The ugliest trophy in all of college football.
Heck yes, it's always a good thing when this is in my office and right here on this set, Norm. So it takes a lot of hard work to be able to keep that in our joint, and we're happy that it is. And what a great day for us. Yes. You know, our 15 seniors going out their last regular season home game and finishing a perfect season at home too, 5-0. I mean, last time that had happened was in 2014, but always sweet to get the troll, and our guys were taking pictures with it afterwards. We had a big senior dinner out at the Moorhead Country Club after the game, and the troll made its way out there, and it was a great day, great night.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Saturday, the defense just seemed to be all over the place.
Yeah, they were in a zone. I mean, really 16 yards of total offense the first half. And 1 yard of total offense in the second quarter. I mean, they were dominating. They were getting the ball back for us. It was good. At the end of the day, you know, our time of possession was almost 37 minutes of ball control, but it was a great day at the office in the first half. Now, I know our D coordinator, Kyle Bakken, would tell you we certainly didn't finish the fourth quarter like we want to. The fourth quarter is a pride quarter for us, and they were able to get on top of us on a few big pass plays, and most of their total offense came in the fourth quarter, plus their 12 points came in the fourth quarter. So we didn't finish the way we wanted to, but all in all, I thought all three phases were solid.
Hey, you also got an opportunity to play a lot of younger players.
Yeah, we did. You know, when you're at your last home regular season game and you can get most of your team into the game, that's pretty good. I mean, we had 13 guys offensively touch the football in the running game. We had 7 receivers catch the football as well. I thought our offense played really well, and our offense, again, we're seeing a new coaching staff, new D coordinator, but that D coordinator has ties to our league. You know, he was in the St. Thomas system. They've been a 3-4 defense all season long. Then all of a sudden they come out and kind of a 4-3 look, very similar to what Carleton had ran against us the week before. So everything you prepped all week, all of a sudden it's not there, and you kind of got to get back to the drawing board and give credit to our offensive staff and our players for keeping their composure and going out and getting after it.
Right. We're going to take a look at those first half highlights coming up here.
Great senior day, and a little chilly one. They got the brave souls that came out at the Moorhead and watched this game. We got to give our kudos to our physical plant for getting that snow pushed off. But our defense was just suffocating. That young man right there, 46, Willie Julks, had just a great day. That little fly sweep was not going to get around him, and he had a great prep week in practice too. And proud of our guys. Here we come out and run a little power play with Chad, and again, on our first series, we get stalled out. We do a little quick kick and get our D's back on the field. And we were playing that field position game. I mean, our starting field position all day offensively, we were on about the 45-yard line most of the day, and they were deep in their own territory. So that was good to see. Some good pressure on their punt game, and Michael Heitzman doing a good job at fair catching that. And
Blake does a nice job of faking me out every week at least once.
Well, and this is Chad not doing Chad things. Get yourself in the end zone is what we talked about at the end of that run there. But Chad just was running a power play backside, and they were over pursuing big time, and he was able to go where they were not and get about a 50-yard touchdown run. There, we were squib kicking. The field was greasy. That ball was just skimming off the turf. So we were getting some great kicks by Tony Kostelecki. This is really important to us. We got to catch those punts, and Michael Heitzman's done a great job ever since we put him in there. Here's a fumble. Chad had a fumble here, and they get the ball back and really didn't do much with it. Our suffocating black shirt defense, and they were getting to the ball, and they were playing at a different level Saturday. You could just see that. We had a lot of excitement, and here's a little play-action pass and dumps it off to Dane Rehnquist, which gets the first down. That was a 3rd down and 5 play and kept the drive alive. Here's Jason Montonye on a little counter play and just battling for yards. A little post wheel route, and Blake sets it in there for Michael Heitzman, getting into the end zone.
Was happy to see him get a score.
Yeah. First one of the year. First one as a Cobb. Transferred to us from Gustavus. He's a Wilmer boy. I'm a Wilmer boy. I told him from the first time I met him, I said, don't make that mistake. And at least he came back to us. So it was good stuff. No, Gustavus is a great program, and Peter Haugen's awesome. So, but he just felt right here.
Yeah.
There's our defense, or that was our KO coverage. Just did a great job all day at really suffocating them. We were glued in on their routes and read their quarterback pretty well. And here's another punt by them, and Michael was able to catch it, and he had some room. He got 11 yards, I believe, on this. You know, they said that he fumbled, but he was down, and we got the football back and got our offense back on the field again. Got a little sprint out action, get the big guy outside, and made a nice throw to Jordan Spaeth here. And Jordan Spaeth got an interference call on that. I think he stepped on the toes of the DB. Tough to see on film because we don't see it quite well enough to know if it was truly an interference. He claims it wasn't. The official said he was 100% sure. Well, I heard that last week on 100% sure when they got us on the targeting too, and we know how that turned out. All right, here's Blake. Blake was 9 for 15 throwing the football. It was good to see, and guys making catches. And again, 7 different receivers touched the ball. Here's Dane coming around the edge and getting down to about the 2-yard line, I believe. And Blake just willing his way into the end zone. You know, this kid's a big kid, 6'5", 235 pounds, runs extremely well. He's tough to bring down. We had 2 missed attempts at the PATs. We had 1 snap where our holder just dropped it, and then you saw on that play there, TK was a little wide left, but you know he had a pretty good day there. Yeah. We were about 75%. Obviously, our goal is 100%, so we want to just continue to work on it because as you move on into the end of the season here with 1 game to go, and then hopefully into the playoffs, you're going to play in some cold weather games, and we just got to get used to it.
Yeah. Well, you take a 20-0 lead into halftime. What was the message to the guys in the locker room?
Yeah, you know what? Well, what do you say to your defense that's given up 16 yards, you know, in 1 yard in the second quarter? So we were really proud of their efforts. We wanted to continue that, obviously, and finish the football game. Offensively, too, we talked as a staff, and, you know, we were looking at what they were doing defensively against us, and we just talked about a few different wrinkles that we could throw at them, but basically it was Carleton's defense all over again for us, and we just played them a week before. So, you know, it's just, and then specialty-wise, just going out and click on all cylinders, and I thought we did that.
Okay. When we return, we'll take a look at those second half highlights. Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. Now, Terry, 20-0 at halftime. Guys came right back out and punched another one in right away.
We did. We lost the toss. They elected to take the football, you know, at the game. So we got in the second half, it was our choice. We took the football and first play from scrimmage. You know, Blake cut back off an option play and shows his speed. You know, we've always talked about his size, 6'5", 235, but this guy has been running away from people, and you'll see it in the highlights here. But it was a great start.
Yeah. We'll take a look at those second half highlights.
Here we come. First play from scrimmage, and there it is, what we just talked about, and he splits the field and gets into the end zone. And what a great statement right there. You know, we thought we kind of stubbed our toe, you know, that last drive, that kind of a 2-minute drill going in and right before half to keep it at 20-0. But, you know, all of a sudden we're right back up. Well, it's 27-0, and we just started the third quarter. Kicked off, and boy, the wet field was really doing some crazy things with the football. Got great coverage by our KO Gonzos. And our D, again, was just lights out great. Took care of the run and limited them pretty much. Here's the punt. and Michael coming up and making catch. Look at, we're near midfield again, Norm. I mean, the starting field position was great. Boy, when you've got half a field to work with, the chances of scoring are pretty high.
Yeah.
There's a great run by Blake, a little lead option here to Dane, and Dane gets right down the field, and you know, he's a different back than Chad, but he brings a lot of power, and he has athleticism. I don't think people give him enough credit for that, but he can run, and he's shifty. Here we did a little QB sneak with Blake and got some great push, and we're in the end zone again, and TK, the whole second half was pretty much lights out with the PATs. It's 34-0. You know, it's still early third quarter. Gonzo's got a lot of work in on Saturday, and that's always a good thing when your KO coverage gets a lot of work. There's a little play action pass and hit just perfectly by Trey Oswald, and that ends up being a fumble, and it ricocheted backwards about 6 yards and went out of bounds. So that was a big play by us. Here's a little trickery. They, they've been watching film, and they throw in a little halfback pass that finally our guys, we got our eyes right, and Jake Erholtz made the great play. There's a bad pitch to the wounded hand warrior that was able to snap that out of the air and get some positive yards. There's Michael Heitzman again on a little counter play and cutting it back inside. And here's a pitch to Riley Sheridan. I really like the way this young man runs. He's getting better every week, and his legs just never stop. You know, he's a freshman, and he's no freshman now. This guy's getting some quality reps, and he's going to be a dandy for us. There's his first collegiate touchdown, too, the young man out of Fergus Falls. And if I remember right, last year he had like 26 touchdowns as a senior in high school.
Wow.
So he's been in the end zone quite a bit, and that was his first one as a Cobber. They started kind of nickeling and diming us a little bit, but we came up with another big play here. Noah Welsh with a big sack. It was good to see. Tackle for loss, I should say. It was just read it right, and now we're into the fourth quarter, and they got on top of us a couple times with some big plays there, and we had guys right there to make play, and we just didn't. Here they come with a little razzle dazzle, and we have the pick, and we have the pick again, and it lands in their hands. I mean, really, we just looked at each other and just shook our head, and they went wide left with their PATs, so now it's 40-6, and and at this time we're playing a lot of guys and getting guys quality reps, and look at this, they score, and then the young Riley Sheridan gets some great blocks, and off to the races he goes. 80 yards for a KO return touchdown. That's pretty sweet, and for a freshman to do that, that's even cooler.
Our first one this season.
Our first one this season. It's been a while too. Our kids, we were ready for that. We knew he was going to short kick us, and he certainly did that. And we got great double teams. And here they get up on top of us again, and that was disappointing. I know Kyle Bach might have lost his voice on that play there, a couple of them. So, but they're good teachable moments though for us. You never stop teaching as a coaching staff, and for us to continue on and get into the playoffs, we can't allow that to happen this coming week. Brought in their backup quarterback. He ran pretty well. He was pretty shifty, but our D's made a good play here. Got Matt By into the game here, and Matt did a nice job, and Logan Hatfield ran a little counter play, and he got in the end zone for the first time. Star out of Bemidji High School, and it was great to see him do that as well. We've got some great seniors at our slot backs, and we're going to certainly miss them, but you can see that our cupboards have some pretty spectacular players coming back to us too. This was, we thought we had it, and the kid just ripped it out. Give him credit, and they gave him the catch. They come out for a field goal. They don't make it, so we get the ball back. It's 54-12. One of our favorite formations and favorite play. Take a knee, and a couple of our freshman quarterbacks were kind of alternating plays in the end. So there's the troll. Then the boys are fired up. We got to figure out how to keep that wouldn't stick in his hand. Might have to do some work in the off season here on this young man. Yeah, singing the school song, it's always fun. Boy, we had some brave souls in the stands, that's for sure. A lot of moms and pops and grandparents, but we had students that stuck it out, and that's, we're really appreciative of that, because it was a cold day.
That it was. 54-12, you take care of business against St. Olaf, something you preached. You got to take care of business each week.
That's right. Yeah, we took care of business, Norm, and I was proud of our kids, and it was just great to see on senior day, the excitement on our sideline. Our kids prepare so hard, and they give so much to our program, and those 15 seniors, they're pretty special to all of us, and we had a great celebration prior to the game, introducing their parents, and the players came out and gave a rose to Mom and hugged Mom and Dad, and then we brought the parents into the locker room for our pregame, and I thank them too for all the time that they've put into Cobber football, and for the opportunity to be able to coach these guys is pretty amazing. I mean, they're the 15 guys standing from the group that came in. I think they were about in the mid-50s when they came in as freshmen. Oh, wow. So, that funnel kind of narrows itself down, but these 15 guys stuck it out, and they've been a big part of our program. I mean, we're at 8 wins this season, and that's in the last 4 out of 6 years we've won 8 plus games, and it's pretty sweet. And this senior class has got 30 wins under their belt, so it'd be pretty nice to get 31 this weekend, that's for sure.
Definitely. When we return, we'll talk to one of those seniors, Jason Montonye. Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I'm now joined by senior running back Jason Montonye. Thanks for joining me, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
You guys are having a wonderful season, man. An absolutely fantastic season. You're a senior captain. Tell me a little bit about what it's like, what this year's been like for you being one of the team leaders.
It's definitely been a special year. I mean, the 4 years that I've been here have been great, but I feel like the biggest difference this year is just our team chemistry. I feel like that's what makes us special on the field and off the field, and I think it's, leading to our success.
Okay. Now, I've talked to every captain this season, and they seem to have decided that you are more of a vocal leader than the rest of them. And I've seen situations where you have stepped up and said a few things when things needed to be said. Do you agree with that?
I don't disagree with that, and the personalities of the other guys, they're not necessarily vocal leaders all the time, but they definitely lead by example 24/7. So they are definitely very great leaders, and they just choose to defer to me sometimes just when it comes to the speaking itself, but I don't mind taking that role.
All right, Graceville, Minnesota. We talked about this before, probably last year also, but you guys, I've been told a story time and time again about how dominant you guys were in high school with you, Austin Monum, and Damon Gibson from across town at MSUM. How nice is it to see Austin kind of get utilized more and more in the offense each week?
Oh, it's been really nice, especially he missed a couple weeks there, a little banged up, and then his first game back last week against Carleton, scored a couple touchdowns. That was great to see. And then he's been more and more involved in the offense as the season's gone on, and that's great to see. I love to see him be successful as well.
Yeah. Every week when I break down the highlights for the show, I see you running the ball, and you're always just a tackle away from getting loose and getting free. Just on the video right there, we saw where you used the bad hand to push the guy off you, and someone else came behind and tripped you up. It was just one of those things. Does it get frustrating not being able to break that last tackle and get loose?
I mean, sometimes in our offense, we always don't necessarily account for one guy. We talk about the one guy to beat. But obviously, as a team, we try to do our best to do our jobs when it comes to blocking as well, to make the other person look as good as we can. So it's all about working as a unit, and if we're able to block the guys that we're supposed to, it's my job to beat that last guy. So.
Okay. Now you changed your major from physical therapy to sports administration recently, right?
Yep, same major, exercise science, but my focus is going to be a little different. I decided to go from the PT route to sports administration, so on to more schooling after this.
Okay, and what do you plan on doing with that once you're done with all your schooling?
Ideally, I would like to become an athletic director somewhere, whether that's high school, collegiate level, wherever. I feel like that's where my passion's at, so it would be something I would love to continue to do.
Okay. Now, you have a close relationship with your sister. She was a track star at MSUM, wasn't she?
Yep.
Yeah, she comes to your games and supports you. She recently got married, and I saw some pictures where you gave a little speech at the wedding. Did you tear up?
I did. I wasn't planning on tearing up, but unfortunately, yeah, a few tears were shed. But no, yeah, I love my sister dearly. She's important to me, and she's one of my biggest fans. Okay. So I appreciate her being there.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who's the better athlete, you or her?
Depends on what we're talking about. When it comes to awards, my sister has been far more successful. I feel like I think she's a 5-time All-American. All-around athlete, I'm going to go with myself, though.
Okay, so let's clearly say she's the better athlete.
Yeah,
than you. 5-time All-American and all the hardware. She's a better athlete than you, buddy. It's okay, because you're a great athlete in your own right. So, your favorite restaurant, Applebee's, huh?
You know,
is that something you just put down there? Or
it is definitely one of my favorite, but jail beers. That's where I've run into Coach Horan a few times. You like getting burgers there? They're pretty good. That that has worked its way to the top of the list, I feel.
Oh, okay, good. So, talk to me a little bit about this week coming up, man. This is probably the biggest game in your career, actually, going down to St. John's to face the Johnnies. Did you feel any pressure, or are you just going to take it as every other week?
I wouldn't say so much pressure as it is excitement. We know that we have to go down there and get it done, just like we plan on doing for every game. But obviously, there's a little extra motivation this week. And playing the Johnnies in general, there's always that extra buzz in the air. But yeah, this is why we play. You know, we're for a chance at the playoffs. We're both sitting at 8-1. And you know, it's in our hands, and that's where we want it to be. We don't want it to be in anyone else's hands. So the fact that if we go down there and are able to do what we know we can do, that our fate is in our hands. So extremely excited to go down there and play. It's been a few years. Last time I was down there was my freshman year. So hopefully we can go down there and take care of business like we know we can.
Good. Now, one last thing here. There's a very good young stable of backs coming up behind you guys. Does it feel good to know that when you move on, you're not really you, Chad, and Austin, and all the guys, you guys aren't really leaving the cupboards bare?
It does, and I feel like it's important, like for us, just embrace that role and teach those guys everything that we can while we're still here. And I feel like that's kind of fun, knowing and seeing those guys develop over the course of just this season alone. They've made strides, and it's fun to watch.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you for joining me, man, and the best of luck this Saturday. You know I'll be there getting it all recorded.
All right, well, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. That's senior running back Jason Montonye.
For you parents, this is your day too. Part of the reason why I bring you in here is you were the ones that brought them to practice back when they were in 4th grade. You're the ones that are still here today.
Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I'm now joined by head athletic trainer Don Bruenjes. Don, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
33 years in the athletic training profession, 12 at Concordia and 11 with football.
Yeah, it goes fast. You know, you look at it and kids say how many years it is, and I have to think every year. So that's good. It's never, you know, never seems to be a drudge.
So what's the athletic training profession been like over the past 33 years? How much has it changed, and what are some of the things that maybe 20 years ago you were focused on, and what's the focus now?
Well, starting 20 to 30 years ago, we were basically, you know, first aiders, tape them, throw them back out there as quickly as we can. Small staff, so we didn't have time to do a lot of rehab. And athletic medicine's changed so much. We were, you know, if you were with an ACL, you're looking at least a year before you came back, and if you did, there was always a question how well you would do. And probably the biggest area you've seen is how we manage concussions. Somebody would get hit on the sidelines, and once we felt that they were back to cognizant, we'd send them back into games. Well, we don't do that anymore because the long-term effects of some of this has become very evident. So, and when I first started, I was, at the high school or at Valley City State, I was a one-man show with some students helping me out. Now, I have a staff of, 2 other, people that are here professionally, and then 3 other GAs. So, our staffs have gotten bigger, and the expectations of what we provide as far as rehab and, facilitating athletic medicine is greatly increased.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit about your staff for football, at least.
Football, this year, I have Derek Grieshaber, who is a graduate assistant. He's a certified athletic trainer who comes from a little town south of St. Louis, who's working on his master's degree in athletic training at NDSU. His role is, taking care of the kids very similar to mine, with a special emphasis of taking care of the JV football. And then this year I have a student from MSUM, and she helps us out as she learns, and we supervise to make sure that she's doing the things that she needs to do. So, and early in the year we also had an NDSU entry-level master student. So usually a couple students with us, and then myself and a graduate assistant.
Okay, and you guys travel everywhere with us, and you do a great job of taking care of the guys on the sidelines especially, but I guess my question is this: the concussions seem to hit us really hard this year, especially amongst the younger guys. How do the student trainers, how do they help in the process of trying to figure things out?
Well, usually what they're doing is they can be my eyes and ears. They, sometimes they'll say, number 45, looks like he got hit. Don, you might want to check him out, or Derek, you need to check them out. And we use them, to learn educationally proper management. So a lot of it, their eyes and ears, they start learning the basics of probably the most difficult injury for us to evaluate and treat, because we can't see what's going on in the brain. We can only, look at, and we have to trust that the athlete's giving us good information. So the students themselves spend a lot of time learning on that management standpoint.
Okay. Now, you're a former NDSU Bison.
Yep, I graduated in 1985 in athletic training when they were on a pretty good run of Division II national titles. Worked, with football, and the sport that I probably worked with as much as anything was track and field. And we had very good track and field in those days. And then later on, while I was at Valley City State, I finished up my master's degree from NDSU. And I'm a Bison. I had 2 daughters that were track athletes that placed in the conference meet, and 1 daughter that made the national track meet. So there's some NDSU backing in my family.
I was going to get to that, your daughter's on the track and field side of things. So you and I sit right behind you on the bus on our way down, and we'll typically get into a conversation about usually sports, college sports mostly, and just different things like that. But eventually you're going to lay down and take yourself a little nap. Is that just a mental break?
Yeah, as you get going, you talk about things, and on those bus rides, you gotta refresh once in a while, and sometimes it's just, as you see, I read a lot. That's my escape from, the work thing. Not that this is a job that I ever feel like I'm at work. It's a fun job, and the college kids, the joke is they get younger every year. I don't think that has anything to do with my age, but they keep you young and they keep you excited. And, every year people say, oh, the kids are different. The kids are different in some ways, but in the same ways, they're just excited to learn and be a part of something. And that's what I enjoy.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me, Don. I appreciate having you, and I love the job that you do with the kids.
Well, I thank you very much.
We're pretty well coached up, and our linebackers are good at getting outside and stopping the jet sweeps. And so, we try to, as a defensive line, we try to force everything back out, and the outside guys always either clean it up or else force them back into us. So it's coaching, and we reacted well.
Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. Well, Terry, you find yourself in a great position going into the last game against St. John's here, being up 8-1.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is what you play for. This This is why you work so hard in the off season, and our kids have been competitive all season long, and they've been getting better each and every week. Comes down to the very last week, you got two teams that are sitting at 8-1, and the winner is going to go into the national playoffs. I mean, we can't ask for much more. This is what we set our goals out to be. You know, we want to make the playoffs, and what a great opportunity for our football program, and it's going to be an exciting one. You know, it's going to be a battle. It always is with St. John's. They're very well coached. They've got great athletes just like us, and it's just going to come down to, you know, who can make the big plays when they can, and, you know, stay away from big turnovers. And special teams will be a big part of this game. But it's exciting, really exciting for our program to be in this position.
Yeah. Now, the Johnnies have kind of put themselves back in a situation where they're one of the top teams, not only regionally but in the country. What are some of the things that they do really well?
Well, offensively, they just control the ball. They run the ball pretty well. They're about 65%, 30 to 35 run to pass ratio. So they want to get that run established. They got good play action pass stuff too. Defensively, but they do a combination of different fronts. You know, whatever seems to be working for them is kind of what they'll stay with. You know, they'll be odd, they'll be even, so they give you a little mixture of both. But they're very athletic. You know, they're athletic. They got a lot of numbers. They're well coached. They got a storied history like us too. So I mean, it comes down to last week. You got two teams like this, and you know, when I was a player, and I would say it's no different with the guys now. We always circled St. John's on our calendar when it came to the fall season, and this is going to be an exciting one. And again, we win, we're in, and boy, there's a lot to play for.
Definitely is. This Saturday, the Cobbers face the Johnnies at St. John's at 1 o'clock for an opportunity to go to the playoffs. This has been the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan.